Hello and welcome back to the Strong Opinion Hibs podcast. This is episode 70, otherwise known as 7-0. Good scoreline that. So, as always, it's me, Charlie. I'm hosting tonight and I'm joined, first of all, by Jack. Jack, how you doing, mate?
I'm good. It was great to see one Hibs team beat Aberdeen this weekend, and I'm famous now. Made it onto the Hibs Women Instagram, that photo of me and Ailey Adams.
And Calvin's here with us as well. Calvin, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, decent, mate. Decent. I'm looking forward to getting the season over with. Like, I'm actually pretty fed up of Hibs. Much as I love them, and that a break would be brilliant. But no, looking forward actually to the new season and that, and like just looking forward to getting a new manager and that, and seeing what happens. I think it'll be really good once we get that in, and I'll start to feel connected to the club again, because I think I've been feeling a wee bit detached, just with like constant like social media like shite basically that goes on all the time with like our fan base now, like just cannot be arsed with it, and like just like the club in general a bit bored of it. So it's been nice to take a few weeks and then just take a wee step back and then get refueled in that for next season. So
totally agree, mate. Well, we'll just jump into it. Hibs men were at home to Aberdeen on Saturday. Jack, me and you were there. Calvin, you were otherwise engaged, so couldn't make it. So I'll run
plastic
bastard. I'll run through the starting 11, then we can go for there. So it was Matt Macy, Paul McGinn, Porteous and Hanlon at the back, with Harry Clark and Josh Doig as wing backs, and we had Jake Delhayes, Joe Newell, Ewan Henderson and Josh Campbell alongside them in midfield with Milkerson up top. Jack obviously had the wee bit of a different team from last week away at Livingston. What was your thoughts on him going with one up top?
I wasn't happy with that at all. You know, Milkerson, we know he gets bullied about at the best of times when he's in a two. So, you know, going in with one up top wasn't a great idea for me. If you are going to go with one up top, I think you'd rather have James Scott leading that line, to be honest, because I think James Scott's really sort of come into his game the past couple of games. So if you're going to go with one up top, I would have put James Scott in instead, or I would have just went with the two. So I was a bit shocked at that. I would have rather have seen two up top or just James Scott, because I think Milkerson struggles with physicality a bit right now. And yeah, that was it for me. Apart from that, I was shocked to see Campbell start, but at the same time, as I thought, well, if Campbell's utilised correctly in this game, he's going to deal with the physicality that Aberdeen bring in midfield a bit better. You know, he's that sort of more defensively minded midfielder. And I think Campbell actually suits games like that more. We've seen it, you know, he came into it against Celtic, you know, 0-0 draw at Easter Road. That was one of Campbell's best games, and against Rangers as well in the semi-finals. So I knew if Campbell's used correctly, and then I was disappointed not to see De Ferrier and Hauga be given a shot. You know, I've sort of banged that drum on a wee midweek episode in the preview for the Aberdeen game. I'd like to see those two, Hauga in particular, be given a shot, because why not? It's near the end of the season. Two young players, I think, that have got big potentials. Just put them in there and give them a chance.
Aye, definitely. And Calvin, what was your sort of thoughts on the team? But also, what was your thoughts seeing Jacob Laney and Murray Aiken, you know, under 18 squad make the bench?
First thought the team was just lacking consistency again. It's been our Achilles heel for me this year. I don't like it. I don't understand it. I mean, obviously James Scott, I mean, if he's deemed good enough to play in a semi-final against Hearts, but arguably one of our biggest games of the season, and then the next again week, you know, he plays again, and then he's dropped again. Like, for me, I just don't get it. Like, I understand that he's maybe not playing his best, but I don't think any of them are playing particularly well right now to really, you know, stake their claim in the starting 11. I think going one up top against Aberdeen just sort of says everything that's kind of wrong with the club right now. I don't think Aberdeen are in a particularly good position as well, but I think it says a lot about our squad, like just poor recruitment in that area. Like, did he really have many options? Campbell coming back into the squad, like, I don't know what he adds. My cousin is friends with people who are friends with Joe Newell, and that they were drinking the same pub in Musselburgh apparently, and he was saying like how much Joe Newell was telling him how much he likes playing with Josh Campbell because he does all the running about and that, and it's like, is that what we've got our club, just runners? Like, for me, I would be quite happy if I didn't see Josh play again for Hibs. I just don't think he's good enough. Not to be competing. No offense to him and that, like, but it's just And that's not the level of player I want to see at our club. The standard of player, especially if we're pushing for a European fight in that European team, or trying to push for Europe. I mean, I find that crazy. I find the James Scott in out. I understand he's not been great. I agree with Jack on the Hauger one. I mean, why have we signed this boy? Does he play? Does he play for the development team, Hauger? Or has he just came here and like got splintered his arse at the bench for the last 4 or 5 months? Like, what is the Hauger project? Like, how is that working? I'd like someone to explain that to me. That would be great. The laddie can't even get a meaningless game at home against Aberdeen to get himself some minutes. Then why have we brought him in? I said it similar. Like, I think Hibs have done this. I don't know if they've done it a couple of times in the past where they've brought like 2 boys over for the same nation. Like when they brought Slivka, they brought big Matalevicus as well, Big Dave.
Oh, Big Dave.
And I wonder if it's just to help. I wonder if it's just to help settle them in, or if there's actually a player there in Hauger. I always felt like Meru and Zamama and Benji played together when they both were on the pitch at the same time as well. So I thought he could have got a shot this week. And it's not like, there's some stellar players in that position that couldn't miss a game or even a half. Do you know what I mean? Give the laddie a half. Because I do think there's a player there. He's very direct. He's very hungry, very aggressive. I like that. And it's something that Ron Gordon said he wanted to see more of. He wanted Hibs to be more of an aggressive team.
Yeah.
When he was on our podcast. So that's something I would have liked. In terms of seeing the young laddies on the bench, it's fair enough. It is what it is, but they don't get minutes, so it doesn't really mean anything. To be honest with you, it's nice to get them involved in the match day sort of atmosphere and that. But I imagine they've probably had a better experience playing at their own level this year.
Aye, I agree. Well, we'll move into the first half. I've got a few points that I'll sort of make them, and then I'll get your thoughts on them. So obviously, I thought Hibs came out the traps pretty quick. I thought we looked to play football, and then a couple of minutes into the game, we get that indirect free kick when Aberdeen make a pass back. But aye, like it comes to nothing as always. Jack, did you think we would have scored that pass back? Free kick.
I mean, I don't think he should have went straight for a goal there. Because I said it sort of like jokingly, that's going to end up in the south upper in a minute. And it very nearly did. I mean, what you do with a indirect free kick like that is you pass it to another player and just sort of create a bit of panic for the Aberdeen defence in the box and just try and get a shot with that. So you obviously, like, what the sort of top teams do, or what you would do on the training ground, is you'd have the wall and then you just sort of kick it to the player the side of you, and then they try and get their shot away. So I think it was a bit. I think Porto was standing there thinking, well, I've scored against Aberdeen before, I may as well try my luck again. But I think, to me, that was a bit of a waste, because we could have created a bit more danger for that, but instead we just blasted it. I think to me, that just sums up the fact that this season we've been a team devoid of ideas. We don't really try and end clever, and we don't really try and end. It's always just sort of, we'll do what comes into our head first. There's no sort of backup for me. So, like, I think that's something we need to work on. Set pieces, both defending them and sort of attacking them, we've not been very good. It's as simple as that this season for that. Set pieces have been our biggest downfall in both senses. It's set pieces against and set pieces for. I think it's just been our biggest downfall this season, because we could have created something from that, like I said. So it was frustrating for me that we went straight for a goal, because you just don't know. If you try and be a bit more clever with that, you can create a bit of danger, and we could have been 1-0 up at that point. You just don't know. So I do think that was a frustrating one for me.
Yeah, definitely. And Calvin, we had 2 more chances after that. Hanlon puts one over the bar. Melkerson's unlucky. He gets a chance that Joe Lewis puts past the post for a corner. So obviously, when you're following the game on Saturday, not being there, are you surprised that we have these chances?
You always hope to create chances in football matches, so I'm not surprised the fact we're making chances. Am I surprised the fact we're missing them? No. The strangest thing about that Porteous one with me, because I watched the game, I couldn't understand why Porteous was taking it. For me, a centre back taking a free kick, I understand. Like, he's a centre back. He's quite strong and powerful, and that he must have a powerful shot. But surely there's a more skillful guy that into one of the corners or something like that, rather than just you could see he was just going to absolutely leather it. And to be honest with you, from that point, from being that close, it's kind of the only thing you really can do. I understand what Jack's saying in that, like, and I agree with him. Maybe at a higher level, that's something we could look at, but I wonder how often they practice those sort of routines in training.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's probably just a hit and hope, I reckon, especially the way our season's going. It's probably just hoping to get a shot on target.
It's not really something you get
for me,
that often as well, is it?
Yeah, no, you don't. And it was strange for me because there must be some sort of rule. I don't know the rules on this. But it wasn't taken from where it lay either. Like, and it was quite. If I was an Aberdeen fan, I'd be like, "What?" Because I got moved into such a good position for us. The Melkerson chance I thought was good. That's what I thought. That was positive. The one when he took the ball and his feet turned, had a shot on goal.
Aye.
And when we had the hot dog on our podcast, that was something he said that stuck out to me when he was talking about Melkerson. Like, he'll take the ball from 20, 25 yards out of his back to goal, turn, and try and create a chance for himself. And I thought, you know what, that's what I've been screaming out for all year. Just have a pop. Because look, it's a good shot on target. It could easily go in on a different day. He's worked the keeper. That's all you can really ask for. He's pushed it in the post and he's got us a corner. Like, I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest with you. Like, that's what I want to see, picking the ball up there and having the confidence to have a strike. Like, I mean, you look at Big Sims in the semi-final. I mean, look what happens when you shoot. Do you know what I mean? Like, just being powerful and running through that and having a shot on goal. Like, for me, that's very. I thought it was really positive, and I think, like I said, that was something that Ranger Hot Dog said that was one of the qualities he said Melkerson had, and he said you'll probably get frustrated when I'm doing it that at times, but with him doing that at times, but I've not seen enough of that film this year.
I think we've not seen enough of that from the whole squad, to be honest, mate.
Yeah.
But obviously that was sort of there wasn't really much else happening. Aberdeen had a chance that Paul Hanlon blocked pretty well. Yes, I do give Paul Hanlon credit sometimes. But we go in
500th game.
Aye, Hi.
A dark day for the club. as somebody wrote on Twitter, made me chuckle. But
so we go in 0-0 at half time. I thought probably 0-0 is a fair reflection on the half. Second half rolls round and Aberdeen are definitely the better of the two teams when they come out the traps. Although Hibs Joe Newell had a chance where David Bates pings the ball at his feet and he takes too long and Declan Gallagher blocks it. Jack, we were saying at the time that there's only one team scoring, and that's exactly how it went. Aberdeen go 1-0 up. Ball comes out to Johnny Hayes, unmarked by 4 Hibs players, let me add. Ball goes in the box. Declan Gallagher heads it back. Now, also in that, 3 players are marking Declan Gallagher. Nobody's picking up Bates. Handler and Doiger in no man's land when the ball goes to him, and he smashes it home for 1-0. So, Jack, what happened there? Like, how can Aberdeen get a chance and 7 Hibs players aren't picking up a man?
I said it when we spoke about the Livingston game. Headless chickens, and again it was the exact same. There's no organisation in that defence because they don't talk to each other. But you've got to communicate. You've got to talk because that's what happened. Now, what I know is Aberdeen are actually relatively well drilled for me yesterday. Bates was constantly communicating, and so was Lewis. They were shouting at each other anytime we got up the pitch. You could see Lewis was going mental in his box. We don't do that. We don't. None of them talk, and that's why you've got that situation where they're all getting sucked onto one player, and they're getting a chance like that. And what's even worse is that we let a Hamburg reject score against us,
and a Rangers reject.
I'll tell you. I watched a game when Hamburg played Aue when David Bates. Now, Aue have just been relegated this season. He got made to look silly by a 32-year-old Jan Hochschild in that game, who has now been relegated to the German 3rd Division, and we're letting that man score against us at Easter Road. No, that's just. But I think the problem for me in that whole situation is, and like I said, just to be serious for a minute here, which is different for me, is. And it's exact same as Livy, and it's exact same as quite a few other goals we've conceded this season, is too many players are getting sucked onto the one player because they're not communicating. You need to go, like, for example, Paul needs to be saying, right, leave him, we've got Bates in that dangerous area. You need to be saying that. You can't just assume that Josh or Ryan or Joe is going to make that call themselves. you as the captain or Macy as the goalkeeper needs to be saying that's what you've got to do. That's the whole point. The goalkeeper and the captain, or the goalkeeper and whoever your main defender is, needs to be communicating that to the other players to get into position. And I think that's the problem. Our defence can be very unorganised at times, and we've seen that again with Aberdeen's goal, and it was poor, and we made it look far too easy for them.
Yeah, definitely. Calvin, I'll come to you. A big issue that I had with that goal is that Johnny Hayes gets a free ball into the box, and we've seen that at Tynecastle when Haring had all the time in the world. But the biggest culprit in that is Jake Doyle-Hayes for me. He's running backwards and letting and inviting and it's not the first time we've seen Jake Doyle-Hayes do that this season, mate. So what do you think that's something that perhaps should be ironed out over the summer in Jake Doyle-Hayes' game, or what do you think about that he's just given Johnny Hayes a free option to put the ball in the box?
You know, like you said, I'm glad you covered that point, because for me, like, the goal's avoidable, and the goal's avoidable when it's out on the wing. Yeah. How he gets a free cross in there is beggars belief, really. But I think to sort of play devil's advocate, because everybody knows I'm not Jake Doyle-Hayes' biggest fan at all. Like, I don't know how he gets a game for Hibs. I don't think he's good enough personally. He's probably one of the ones I'd like to see move on, if I'm honest with you. For me, it looks like to me Jake Doyle-Hayes, in his defence, he's moved over to try and close the space. He's maybe not expecting him to cross it there and then. I think he's expecting him to go down the left wing and try and cross it over. So I think he's trying to show him down the wing instead of letting him come inside. But you've also got to look at the press there. You've got Henderson, Melkerson, and Josh Campbell. The three of them are standing watching as well. So there's no communication, but the press is really poor. Like, it's really poor pressing there. Like, nobody's going towards the ball. So I think to single Doyle-Hayes out, it's maybe a wee bit unfair, but he could definitely be doing more there. But that's 4 Hibs players getting sucked to the one ball, just as Jack highlighted. Ball comes in. I mean, Gallagher wins a header. It comes back in. Bates takes one touch, and then Hanlon's on his arse. I mean, that's weakness in Hanlon's sort of a, what would you call it, air game, or like his time in the air is very poor. I mean, he jumps and he falls, and he was bullied against Sims, and he was bullied the week before for the goal we lost. I can't mind who we lost that game, so we lost that many. He's bullied again, and I just think, like, stand up, man. And you can see the reaction after it. Porteous is going off his head as well. Like, it's so poor. But I don't, in their defence, I don't really know what you'd expect from a team that's had so many changes. I mean, it's just a perfect recipe for a disaster, which is what we've got this season. Like, 2 managers, different backroom staffs, still no manager, an intern manager twice, who doesn't really have the experience to be a manager, or to maybe know as much about that, because David Gray is he's in infancy sort of stage of his managerial career. So for him to try and stamp out all these mistakes that have been happening since the start of the year, because balls into our box has been happening since Jack Ross was here. It's still something we've still not managed to get, to clamp down on. So
yeah,
I'm not surprised. I think for me, go back to a podcast, listen to a podcast about 7 months ago, you hear the same thing. Don't close balls down to the box quick enough. Can't defend high balls in the box.
Aye.
Go back three weeks ago, Hanlon gets bullied off anybody who comes in physical contact with him. Poor, man. It's poor. It's a really poor team. For man, I think are extremely poor.
On the positive side, though, after that, we react well to going behind, which is what David Gray said he wanted to see more of this week. We had Harry Clark had a shot blocked, Hanlon headed over. Joe Neal probably should score when he gets the ball at his feet right in front of Joe Lewis, but I don't think he had enough time to react. But and then we get the goal, thankfully. Jasper comes on and James Scott come on, and for my money changed the game. James Scott seems to be the boo boy, but I think since the semi-final he's been very, very good. And Jasper's direct and wants to run at people, and why he gets benched for that reason, I don't know. But anyway, Jasper puts a good ball into the box. James Scott nods it down, and Paul McGinn, for a yard out, he can't really miss, but a goal's a goal. So Jack, do you think the goal was deserved? Do you think we were on top after Aberdeen scored?
Yeah, I think we reacted well to, as you said, and as Sir David said as well, to going 1-0 down, which, been crying out for that for a long, long time. Is because I think when we concede first, our heads go down, or when we concede any time in a game, our heads go down.
Yeah.
But no, it was great reaction. I'd like to say, picking up on that James Scott, that was great striker play for him there. To just know to nod it back across. And yeah, I mean, well, Paul McGinn, I've got to say fair play, because I always say it about these chances right in front of the goal. It's easier to miss them than it is to score them. Especially if you're a right back. You're no used to it, are you? You're no used to being in that position. But no, just sticks a foot out, goal, and I've got to say, yeah, it was coming. It was definitely coming for us with the opportunities we got. But yeah, I think James Scott doesn't deserve some of the flack he's been getting recently, because I think the last couple of games for me he's been okay. And if it hadn't been for him showing that bit of awareness, Paul McGinn might have not got that chance. So I think, yeah, it wasn't deserved. And unfortunately, there was some nastiness involving James Scott at the game when he went to take some pictures of some young fans. There was a lot of booing and shouting, apparently, from the West End. I think it's not on at all. I think James, you can't fault him for the fact that he's been engaging with the fans, and he always has time for the fans. So I think that's just there's no need for it. And I think that just sort of sums up certain sections of the fan base, to be honest, that they're booing and shouting at a player just for taking pictures with some young fans. But going back to it, yeah, great awareness with James Scott, great finish with Paul McGinn, and Jasper. It all comes to that ball for Jasper. Jasper, for me, that impact sub. That's what it was. It was a high impact sub. Great decision by David Gray, I think, to bring him on. I think David Gray could see that the game was needing Jasper. Jasper comes on, and for me, he changes the game. We don't bring Jasper on, I don't think we would have got that chance. So yeah, I think good stuff in that respect.
Yeah, definitely. And Calvin, did you think after we'd scored we were going to ride out for the point, or did you think we were going to win it after that?
No, every time someone scores first against us this season, I never think we've got a goal enough to bring it back. Never. Every time, if someone scores, if we don't score first, I think we're beat 100%. Every time we've played this season, that's just my thought. I don't think we've got it in us to bounce back for that. So I was quite surprised actually when I checked my phone, and I seen that we'd equalised, and it was Paul McGinn as well. I thought, Christ, in the right. But to come back to an earlier point you talked about, see that Joe Newell miss, how he's missed that is unbelievable. And see if that's Nisbet, there's an absolute uproar and the abuse that he would get. Or if James Scott had missed that, you'd never hear the end of it.
I think I might be right in thinking that Joe Newell missed a similar one against Celtic earlier in the season at Easter Road as well.
Yeah, he did.
Nizzy missed one as well.
Nisbet. And you're right though. I think if it was a different player that maybe fans do get on the back of pretty easily, then it's another. You're right.
Just in terms of that goal, I think it was, like you said, like bringing Jasper on was a good decision. I think he was very direct. I mean, it's amazing what happens when you're direct and you actually run at people rather than trying to pass them to death and pass the ball into the net. But I think at the same time, it was a well-taken goal. And I think it just goes to show again, why is Jasper not playing? Why?
Yeah.
I don't get it. I mean, if he can do stuff like that, I know he's only 19, he's a bit hot and cold at times, but Ken, he's a better option than what we've got sitting there.
Aye, definitely. So I'll just quickly get both your players of the match, and then we'll move on to the other Aberdeen game. So, Jack, who was your player of the match?
It's a hard one. I've got to stick the official vote and say Portal, because he did put in an amazing shift throughout the game. Lad's our best defender. It's as simple as that. And for my money, he should be in the running for the captaincy. That's it. It's between him and Louis Stevenson for me for the captaincy. So yeah, Port just gets my man of the match.
And Calvin, for you?
I always didn't watch the full game. I only seen wee glimpses of it, so I couldn't really say.
I think Matt Macy was mine. I think he
Whoa, back up here. Charlie,
end the podcast. End the podcast.
I think Matt Macy was doing the basics right. He was collecting the balls. He was releasing them quicker than he has been, and
That's because he Ken he's getting punted to an English club.
Well, he's maybe trying to put himself in the shop window, but I thought he played really well on Saturday, which is a rare occurrence this season for him anyway.
He'd be more useful standing in the famous 5-shot window.
I know.
Oh, he wouldn't fit in there. Come on now, Calvin.
Anyway,
is that a fat joke or a high joke?
It's a high joke.
We'll move on.
I'm joking, mate.
I'll keep this. I'll keep this order. I'll keep it in order before it runs off into us being cancelled again. So we'll move on to the positive result, or more positive result this weekend. Hibs women were in action, Jack, for the last time at Almondvale this season.
Yeah, it's the last time at Spaghetti had this season.
Last time at home this season, and they were playing Aberdeen. That's pretty common this season that we're playing the same team, men and women, in the same fixture week. So I'll quickly run through the team, and I'll run through the subs as well, because there was a few on the subs bench that were maybe a shock to us when we were talking about it. So in goal we had Gabby English, and then I didn't know what formation we played, so I'm just going to run through it. So we had Shannon Leishman, Leah Eddy, Joelle Murray, Jenna Penman, Ellis Notley, Shannon McGregor, Colette Kavanagh, Mickey McAloney, Amy Gallagher, and Ailey Adams. So obviously your notable people on the subs bench, or I'll go through the subs. So we had Emily Much, Amy Muir, Siobhan Hunter, Alexa Coyle, Rosie Livingston, and Kirsty Morrison. That's a decent six-a-side team. But Jack and Calvin, I'll come to you first. What was your thoughts when you seen players like Siobhan and Alexa on the bench?
I wasn't too fussy because I've seen them missed out a few times this year. Like, it's no like it's a complete and utter shock. I mean, I think the league's pretty much done, and they're going to end up where they're going to end up in fourth place. So I think it's probably the right time to give some other people a shot in that, and we know what those two players can do already. So I wasn't too fussy about it, to be honest with you. I was quite fine with it.
And Jack, we spoke in the group chat about Alexa potentially being like a impact sub. So was that a shock that you seen her on the bench?
No, because I think I knew what Dean was doing. I could see what Dean was doing, which was, we know Aberdeen are a difficult team to play. So you have that in your locker, that if we're maybe struggling, you've got Alexa there that you can bring her on, and, we can go more attacking. In terms of starting 11, I was really, really happy. A really strong team. It's great to see Jenna getting a shot, of course, against their old side. Yep. But also because I know that's the sort of game that suits Jenna, a very physical game against a team that, are going to cause us a lot of problems. And Jenna's your sort of no-nonsense defender. She's just going to get battered in there and cause them problems. So, yeah, I was very, very happy with the team. I thought it was a really strong lineup, and it was good to see Ailey back as well. Obviously, Shiv was on the bench because she picked up a knock against Hamilton. So I think Shiv was there just to make up the numbers, really, because she looked uncomfortable when she was walking about. Yeah. So I think that might be her season done. But a really strong bench as well. It was great to see, because Ailey, I think we missed Ailey against Hamilton for me. So it was great to see Ailey back starting as well after the wee knock she picked up against Partick.
Yeah, I was happy with the team too. I think it's good to have those options on the bench. Bench looks strong, and it was nice to see like Amy Muir back and about the squad as well. So, Jack, you've sent in some talking points, so I'm just going to read them out, and then we'll get a wee overall thought after I finish that. So I'll just sum the game up based on what you said. So, first half, you said Ailey took the first goal really well. Superb, picks the ball up out wide, goes against her own defender, cuts inside, and calmly finishes. So that's 1-0 Hibs. Aberdeen equalise. It's a frustrating one, and it comes from our biggest issue this season: misplaced passing. Very, very common. We've seen that. Then Jenna tries her best to get across it, but it's too late. Too many players out of position. This is still Aberdeen's equaliser. Then Hibs got a disallowed goal. Mickey had it over the line, but lines weren't flagged and it isn't given. Ailey's second goal to make it 2-1 comes from a well-delivered corner. Great, powerful header from her as well. So 2-1 at half-time. Decent performance so far, Jack, based on what you said in the video, and you made that 2-1 Hibs joke, which never gets old. So then we go into the second half. We come out, we dominate. We've got good amounts of energy and intensity, and had Aberdeen and knots running rings around them, and great amount of pressure every time we lost the ball. Fought nail and tooth to win it back. The third goal comes from Shannon McGregor's pressure. Dangerous ball was then turned in by an Aberdeen player, and then we wrap up with a fourth from Mickey. Great long ball from Leah. She's 1-on-1 with the keeper, and Cam, as you like, finish. So overall, a fantastic performance, And like you said, Calvin, I think that's winning. That's probably cemented fourth for us, I would say.
That is it. Yeah, mathematically impossible for
Mm.
Aberdeen to catch us now.
And to be best of the rest with the the four Glasgow teams, the three Glasgow teams, four if you include Hamilton, five if you include Motherwell. So the three
Six
main,
if you include Partick.
the three main Glasgow teams, like that's, I think we're the best semi-pro team in the league. So I mean, we have to finish fourth, like. But Calvin, I think you were going to say something there, mate.
I was just going to make a Hounds House and winning on an Edinburgh team, but it's not that funny.
Aye. But Jack, we'll get on. Up until now, obviously finishing fourth this season, good or bad?
I'll take it. I think the thing is what you've got to realise is Rangers and Celtic have pumped a lot of money into their teams. You've just seen, obviously, Rangers have won the league. It's the first time in 15 years a team that isn't Glasgow City have won the league.
Yeah.
Celtic have invested I think Celtic, it's in the ballpark of about 2.5 million they've invested. Rangers, it's about 3 million. So they've invested a lot of money in the teams. So you expect them to be where they are.
Yeah.
I mean, Celtic, I think Celtic, if you compare us and Celtic have had a more disappointing season than us, and they won a trophy because of the league. The league, Celtic haven't been in and about the league, the title race at all, which is what they were expected to do. So I think, to be honest, it's with what we've got and the resources we have, it's been a good season for me. We've come fourth, best of the rest. It's like coming third in the men's league, which is the best you can ask for Hibs men, really. So I definitely think this season's been a good one for us, and that performance just sums up what we can do when we're at our best. I think, and next season's going to be really exciting. We've got players nailed down to new contracts, and we've got Crystal and Liana coming over as well.
Yep.
Hopefully a few more bodies coming in through the door. So I think next season we're going to be up there challenging, I think maybe trying to usurp Celtic into third, or even Glasgow City might end up down there, because I think their time's done, to be honest. So I don't think it's been a good season for us, and I think that result, it was brilliant, because Aberdeen aren't an easy team to play.
No.
It's been really tight games every time we've played them, so to come out and put in a performance like that and blow them away the way we did, it's amazing, and I think it proves what the girls are capable of. And I've said it before, strong foundations. We've got strong foundations for next season. So I'm saying this to everybody, whether you follow the women's team now, or you're thinking about following the women's team and you didn't follow the women's team, there's exciting times ahead next season. I'm going to put my nail my colours to the mast and say the women's season next season will probably be more exciting than the men's, to be honest. I think the women will achieve more next season.
Aye, definitely will. Before we move into the quiz, obviously Hibs men are away to Dundee tomorrow, and then Hibs women are playing Hamilton on Wednesday. So we'll quickly get score predictions for them before we move into the quiz. So Calvin, I'll come to you. I'm making the trip to Dens Park tomorrow. I'm a glutton for punishment, I really am. But what's your score prediction for tomorrow night at Dundee? You're on mute, mate.
Oh, that helps. No.
No.
No, aye. But no.
That's fair. Jack?
I'm going to say 0-0 as well. I can't see either us or them scoring a goal.
I think it'll be 1-0 Hibs. I think we'll scrape it. So
who's your scorer?
Charlie Adam on goal, mate.
I can't. By the way, sorry to derail things a bit here, but he didn't ask me for the women's player of the match. I'm going to say Jenna Penman, because she put in a solid shift. So there you go. There's just that random aside there. Sorry.
Thank you. I skipped ahead and by accident. So 0-0 and 1-0. So we'll move to the women's game on Wednesday. Jack, score prediction, mate, against Hamilton.
I'm going to say 2-0 Hibs. And my goal scorers are going to be Ailey and Shannon McGregor.
Calvin?
1-0 Hibs.
And your scorer?
Scorer Notley.
Ellis Notley to rock up where we go.
I think so, yeah.
He's got a few this season, to be fair. It's not bad for a centre half.
I'm just showing you how versatile I'm, and I can all the players, eh?
I'm gonna go
no bad for a plastic.
I'm gonna go 2-1 Hibs. I think Ailey Adams to score twice and to continue our good run of form. So that brings us to the quiz. We're cheapskates, so we've got a 40-minute time limit on this. So we've got this needs to be a quick quiz.
It's a lightning
There's
round.
nobody that listens to our pish for me in 40 minutes. So anyway,
That's true. Right.
set it for my dad.
Usual scenario here. 3 on the men, 3 on the women. So Jack, come to you first. Russell Latipi played 98 games for Hibs. How many goals did he score? A 9, B 19, or C 29?
I'm going to go straight in the middle and say, I know that's probably being a bit over optimistic, but I'm just going straight to the middle. B.
Calvin?
Read them again.
It was 9, 19, or 29.
9, 19, or 29.
Yep.
You've not got time to guess. It's a lightning round,
all right,
son.
29.
It's
Sorry.
1-0 to Calvin. 29
Right.
goals, which is decent for a centre mid.
See, you shouldn't have pushed me because
Aye.
I've got to go down the middle, Jackie.
Right, number 2, including Utilita, how many kit sponsors have Hibs had? Calvin?
Since I've been, oh Christ, since I've been alive, I've not got a lot of time. I'll just say, how much time have I got? When does this Zoom call finish?
We can come back if it runs out.
Right. Well, I'm just thinking. I'll say 15.
And Jack?
Right, Christ knows. I'm going to go for 10.
And Calvin takes a 2-0 lead. It's 15.
Oh, this
Is
is...
it?
Aye.
Is it really 15?
15, aye.
Oh wow, that's a
Right.
big. That's a guess and a half, man.
Next one. In the Hibs shop at this present time, how many retro kits are on sale? Jack?
It's 4, isn't it?
And Calvin?
I was going to say, well, they've had that Buckner one Jack bought a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
Is that counting?
Yes.
So that'll count. They did have the 07 Classic shirt. They had the 91, 92 one as well that I actually bought for the shop. They had the 07 Classic one, but I don't know if you're counting those two. I ken the the purple and green striped one is there as well. And then they brought, I seen it this morning. I'm going to say 5.
It's 4, and Jack brings it back to 2-1. Right, so our Zoom meeting ran out because I'm cheap and I didn't pay for it anymore. So it's 2-1. I'll just run through the tops we've got. So we've got the 1979 Buckta, 1985 Insave, 1980 Umbro, and 1994 Calor, which they are the last two are the newer ones. So it's 2-1 to Calvin after the mains. So we'll move on to the women's ones. And these are pretty difficult. So good luck. Number 4. According to the Hibs official website, how many registered midfielders do Hibs women have in the first team? Calvin, I'll come to you first because I went to Jack first last time.
6.
And Jack?
Yeah, can I count these? It's on my fingers, don't worry. We've got Mickey, Ria, Shannon, Rosie's registered as a midfielder. I'm trying to think who else. That Rachel Boyle's still registered as a player. She's a midfielder. And there's one more, so I'm going to go and say 6.
You're wrong. It's actually 7. So let me run through them. You've got Rosie Livingston.
Yep.
Mickey McAloney.
Yep.
Ria McCafferty.
Yep.
Colette Kavanagh.
Oh, Cavs registered. Oh, of course. Aye.
Shannon McGregor.
Right.
Rachel Boyle. Any guesses? Any guesses who the 7th is?
Is it?
Amy
Hang on a
Gallagher.
minute.
Who did you say, Jack?
Amy Gallagher.
No,
She's registered as a forward.
Yep. Calvin, any guess?
I would maybe say Kirsty Morrison.
Nah, forward. It's actually someone who's out on loan but is registered as part of the first team. It's Lucy Ronald. She's a midfielder as well.
Oh, I thought it was just current.
No.
So technically I was right, but
Aye, and so was I.
Aye. So anyway, moving on. You're both
name's
wrong.
the rules though.
How many goals have Hibs women scored this season? Jack, coming to you first. You've got 3 options here.
Okay.
32,
Good.
42, or 52.
Right, I'm going to go shoot straight in the middle again because I don't think we've scored as many as 52 because some of our wins have been quite tight this season.
And
So is
Calvin,
it this is in the league, I assume?
in the league.
Okay, right.
Right, in the league.
Okay, so yeah, I'm going to go B.
Name of them again.
32, 42, 52.
In the league. I'll say 52, but I think I'm wrong. I think it's 42. But they would just say the same as him because it's boring.
It's 42. So Jack brings it back to 2-2. It's all to play for with this last one.
Then up step Paul Hanlon.
Right, okay. Last question. The Scotsman newspaper released a list earlier in the season of 20 of the best young women's players in the country. How many Hibs players made the list? And Calvin, I'll come to you first.
Well, the first problem I've encountered is all the girls in the team are pretty young, to be fair. So I'm already stumped because I didn't think any of them were over 25. Hardly any of them were over 25. So
Just
best young players. Oh God, who you got? I didn't ken how old any of them are, but I can the women's team tend to be quite young. I will go. How many folk were on the list? You can, no?
20. So there was a list of the 20 best.
I would say
players in the country.
I would say 3.
3. And Jack?
You know what? I'm pretty sure Ailey Adams was the only one from us that made it onto that list. So I'm going to go and say 1.
Can reveal that Jack has came from 2-0 down to win 3-2. You're right, Jack. It's Ailey Adams, the only player on the list, which is a strange one because we've got a few good young players that never made the list.
Top of the league, looking down on Calvin. It's the only explanation I can find.
Right, before this turns into a Celtic symphony,
you need to get personal, mate.
I know. That brings us to.
It's the first time I've won one through undubious means. So
that brings
I'm
us
not
to
used underhand tactics this time.
That brings us to the end of this episode. We've got another episode on Wednesday, which is a day earlier than normal. But we're not going to be reviewing the Dundee game because, quite frankly, it's going to be the most boring game of football we've seen this season. But we'll be joined on Wednesday night by Finance Director of Hibs, Chris Gaunt, who's going to come and talk to us about some of the new initiatives at the club and also have a bit of breaking news around Hibs as well. So we're looking forward to that. And until next time, come on the Hibs. Hey,